You have a message, a story, or an experience that's going to change the world. And when would now be a really great time to get your message out there? Listen, at the time of the recording of this show, we are in the middle of the coronavirus scare across the world, and all of us, in a sense, have been sheltered in place in our homes. The world has flocked to the internet to watch Netflix, among other things, but to find out information. And so I'm here to encourage you today to get your message out to the world in a new way. Listen, what would it be like to walk onto a stage in front of 1,000 people ready to hear what you have to say? For some, that's terrifying. For others, like a lot of the experts that I work with, that idea is thrilling because you have a message or a story that you know when you get it in front of other people, it will change them and then it will change the world. Welcome to the Bunker Bash. My name is Ed Rush, 5-time #1 best-selling author and former F-18 fighter pilot, your host for the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. You are in the middle of Expert Week. This is a 5-show series to show you how to build your brand, to get your message out there, to catalyze a movement and change the world. Today, I'm going to be sharing the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. Now, I have a little secret for you. My goal is always to under-promise and over-deliver. So I actually have 13 tips. It started out as 9 and then just kind of grew. I added just 2 even this morning. So I'm going to be sharing with you some things that I've learned over the last few weeks about live streaming, actually over the last few years. But I've got some amazing news for you because this week I'm going to be bringing in some of my favorite experts on topics like, for example, tomorrow, I'm bringing in my friend Marquetta Breslin to talk about the top 9 social media tips to explode your brand, one of the sharpest social media people I've ever seen. And we're going to be talking first about Instagram, a place that is exploding right now, and you want to take advantage of it. On Wednesday, my buddy Paul Culligan's coming into town to talk about the top 9 podcasting tips you can use to broadcast your message. On Thursday, Yakov Smart, actually one of my clients, but one of the smartest guys that I know when it comes to LinkedIn. We're going to be talking about the top 9 LinkedIn tips that you can use to connect with your ideal customer. And then Friday, in addition to Focus Friday, my book publisher, Jim House, is coming in for the top 9 book publishing tips to share your message. It's a week designed all around you. My goal is that by the time you're done this week, you will have an area of focus that you can flat out roll up your sleeves and get it done. All right, so I'm going to start teaching in just a moment, but before I do that, as usual, please log into chat, say hello. If you're on YouTube, that's on the right. If you're on Facebook, that's in the comment section below. Just tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do. I will be taking your questions also later on today. I'm going to move fast through some of this content, and I'll be meta teaching, which means I'm going to be teaching I'm going to be demonstrating as I'm teaching. Okay, but first I want to say hello to some of our friends here in chat. Hello, Jim Butts from Carlsbad. Good to see you, buddy. Good morning, Professor Rush. I like that term, by the way. I may have to. I have a friend of mine who gave himself a PhD, homeschooled. He learned everything at home. Ready, lined up on the active runway and ready for takeoff. Man, I like it. These are 2 pilots, by the way. I like this. It's Dennis and Ed. Good to see you, buddy. What's up? By the way, so if you just joined us, about 8 episodes ago, which feels like 1,000 years ago, I told everyone a little secret about a pseudonym that I have on a website called Insight Timer, called Brock Devine. That's hysterical. Robin Roberts, what's up from Houston? Hello, Cecilia. Good to see you again. John, my man, welcome back. And Aaron from Dallas. Dr. Tom, where did I see your? Hold on a second. Oh, hello, Catherine. Welcome. Dr. Tom, there you are. Good to see you from South Florida. Yeah. Hello, Sally. Welcome as well. Preston, good to see you. As usual, my man, Diana, welcome back. Going from surviving to thriving. I love it, man. Good to see you, Gina, as well. Charles, welcome back to the show. And Russ, hello. Yes, Russ Gordon might not be a pilot, but he's a pilot of awesome. Gissy from Germany, welcome back, my friend. Iron Core. Y'all make fun of me for not drinking my coffee, and I'm going to do it now. What's going on? Iron Core Way, a gym for vibrant health and wellness. Did it again, dude, this morning. Back onto the kettlebells, baby. 30 minutes. Cherie, welcome back. Wendell, good to see you. David Zetz as well. Waking up with these good feelings. Not sure what's happening, but it happened when I started watching Bunker Bash. I love it. Hello, Kathy from Washington. Welcome. So today, I'm going to be sharing the top 9. Actually, it turns into the top 13 live streaming tips to grow your business. Now, let me take you back about 2 weeks ago. So actually, I'll take you back about 5 years ago. I started live streaming when I worked with a guy named Mike Koenigs. Mike was, simply put, the best on the planet when it came to live streaming video. At the time, actually more like about 7 years ago, when Mike and I were using it, it was even difficult. For example, YouTube Live hadn't been launched yet. Facebook Live hadn't been launched yet. It was hard even to get online. And we were using systems like Ustream or Livestream, which were charging us thousands, in certain cases, tens of thousands of dollars just to stream our content online. But you know, a funny thing happened. We would do these product launches and then we'd have these huge live streams at the end of it. And full disclosure, we were bringing in millions of dollars in like at one point over $1 million in a day using live streams. And so I give a lot of credit to those early days learning with Mike, because it was just the two of us sitting inside of a studio. Some of you remember the old digital cafe days, teaching. And in certain cases, we would start at like 10 or 11 in the morning and go until 11 or 10 or 11 at night. 12 full hours where we would have 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 1,000 people or more inside of a studio. So a lot of the things I'll be teaching you, I learned side by side from Mike. But about 2 weeks ago, I was coming back from a trip to Dallas. It turned out to be my last trip for a while, frankly. And as I was coming home, I thought, you know, we're all going to be sitting inside of our homes, and two things are going to happen. Either number one, you're going to sit and watch Netflix and get out of shape and get mentally and emotionally out of shape, especially if you sit and watch the news. And by the way, if you can't read the shirt, it says, don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there's a picture with a quote next to it and it says Abraham Lincoln. So I thought that was like perfect for right now, because we have finally made our way into not the information age, but the disinformation age. Now I believe there's probably 10 times more disinformation on the internet than there is actual information. And you can read into that whatever you want to. But about 2 weeks ago, what I realized is there's two directions. And Diana mentioned it earlier in the chat stream where she said it's either survive or thrive. There's people right now who are just surviving, and there's people who are growing and getting better. And the reason I asked, what would it be like to have 1,000 people watching you, is because one of the live streams from a week and a half ago, some of you remember my interview with Michael Haig, eclipsed over 1,000 viewers. And if you look at the statistics for the length of time, the average length of time last I checked was about 18 minutes, which is really good for a YouTube video, okay? So here's what I'm here to tell you. Right now, people are looking for the content that you have to provide. And so today on the show, I'm going to be going tactical. I'm going to be showing you inside of the studio. I created a video to show you all the pieces and the gear that I have. I'm going to be giving you gear recommendations and how to start building your studio. I'm going to show you how to communicate directly to a camera when, frankly, there's nobody inside of a studio. And I'm going to be giving you all of the behind the scenes things that I've learned, not only over the last 2 weeks, but over the last 7 years. So your job is very simple. Grab a pen and take notes. In fact, it would be awesome if some of you would even make notes of some of the key pieces of content that you hear on the show. You can simply just put it in quotes and throw it up there so that other people can hear and respond to some of the content. Some of you know, when you come to my live events, which we're going to be having one of those again really soon. Just wait, it's coming. When you come to my live events, coming back from the breaks, a lot of times what I do is I ask for what I call ahas. This is where you get a chance to repeat back some of the things that were really meaningful for you in the event. Sometimes it's something someone else shared. Sometimes it's something I taught or in one of my guest speakers taught. But what happens is when people share their ahas, the big things that you experience, other people go, that's right, I forgot about that. And then they're ready to implement. So you sharing in chat some of the bigger things that you're learning along the way will be really helpful for everyone. And it'll help build our community to awesome status. All right. So let's get started. I've got, let me see if I can pull this up. I've got 13 points to teach you about how to broadcast your message online. I'm going to kick off the first point in about 45 seconds. But before I do, let me just say, if you've just joined us, welcome to the Bunker Bash. My name is Ed Rush, your host for the most positive place on the planet. Today, I am teaching the 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. I've been live streaming probably longer than almost anyone, 7, 8 years now, long before YouTube Live, long before Facebook Live. And I'll be sharing you some of the things that I learned and the things that you can do now. And by the time we're done with this 1 hour training session, you will be ready to get up and running, even if it's just broadcasting your first show on YouTube. Now, when it comes to live streaming, in my opinion, there are really 3 platforms of significance inside of live streaming video. The first one is YouTube Live. The second one is Facebook Live. And the third one is Periscope or Twitter. Okay, so those 3 tend to be the most important in my opinion. Now, in my opinion, Facebook Live is actually the best system for live streaming. It gives you the best chat functionality. It gives you the best ability to interface with the people you're talking to. But having said that, for most business owners, the first place for you to stream, I think, will be Facebook. And the reason why is most business owners don't have a following in YouTube. In fact, when I started this, I really didn't have much of a following over at YouTube, but most business owners do have some kind of following on Facebook. Now, if you're in the news media, if you're looking to maybe start some sort of political movement, Twitter or Periscope would be a great place for you to start. But I'm recommending, if you're looking just for a place to start, Facebook is a logical place simply because you typically already have your friends and fans sitting here. Now, if you've already got thousands of people over on YouTube, go ahead and launch it right there. And there's reasons why I'm personally focusing on YouTube for my brand, which I'll get into as we get into the show today. All right, so without any further ado, let's get started with the content today, and let's get started with number 1. So if you just joined us, these are the 9, actually coming down to 13 live streaming tips to grow your business. And let's get started with number 1. Live streaming tip to grow your business is make your studio look professional. Now, I'm here to tell you that you can build a professional studio starting with exactly $0. It starts with you finding a good spot in your home or potentially your office, maybe something outside with some trees or something like that behind you, and speaking directly into the camera that's on your computer and using the microphone on your computer. Like I said, $0 because you already have it in front of you. Now, I'm going to be showing you how I built this studio, and in full transparency, this was not $0. So the camera that I'm looking into right now is a couple $100 camera. The second camera that I have that points at this board is a couple $100 camera. These lights that are here are about a few $100s, couple $100 for a pack of 3. And by the way, every resource that I have inside my studio, this microphone, everything that I'm speaking into right now, I have built into a gear list for you. So the website for that, by the way, is www.edrush.com/gear list. Okay, edrush.com/gear list, and that's the website, and that's going into chat actually right now. If you're watching this on video, it's right below in the description of this video. So when I walk through my studio and show you everything that's inside here, all of that is available, and there's links to all that inside of the gear list. In fact, links to my favorite resource for all the gear, okay? So what I wanna do very quickly is I wanna take you on a tour of my studio, then I'm gonna come back and make a few points of application. So hang on while I get. All right, hey, it's Ed, and welcome to the studio. So I'm gonna do a little behind the scenes tour with you to show you how I've set this up. Now, full disclosure, this is not perfect, but it is workable. And I'm going to show you the lights and the audio and the general setup in the background. And then as we spend some time together, I'll give you some sort of good, better, best suggestions on some things that you can do. Okay. Okay, so this is the view from the back here, and I'm going to walk you into it and just kind of show you what I set up. So first of all, this shelf in the background, I used to just have a blank wall back there. And it didn't give the ability really for depth. It was hard to tell. The background always seemed really fuzzy. So I had the whiteboard back there, but it was difficult just to see where the background was. So I just built these little shelves. This is just wood that I bought at Home Depot that I built these shelves, and then just put some books on here. Most of these I've read, not the little brown ones here. And I'm probably going to declutter this just a little bit, but you'll see prominently facing, 21 Day Miracle books here. So brand is important to it because I do several interviews from the studio here. Okay, so the lights that you're looking at right here are GVM560AS, and they are linked below this video. The great thing about these lights, I want to kind of get behind it and show you what happens here. The great thing about these lights is they've got intensity that you can dial, but then also color. So look at the wall as I dial the color down. See how it's getting red? And then as I dial it up, it gets blue. So it's really cool and really hot, and you can kind of put it in the middle if you want to. And then you can up the intensity too. So super bright, super low, and then kind of in the middle. So it helps you adjust the intensity of your lights. Now, when it comes to the lights, I have lights actually lighting up the background. And if you're going to have lights, you want the background lit up, because what it does is it creates some depth and it kills some of the shadows. It doesn't kill all the shadows that come off of the lights from you, but if all you have, so you can see right here, I've got essentially 3 lights set up pointing right at me. If all you've got is the lights that are pointing directly at you, you'll cast some huge shadows. Okay, now I have 3 lights that are pointing essentially at me. You can see the 2 on the left here and this one here. And they're spread out so that they hit the board just a little bit as well. So when you're looking back from the bookcase, you can see there are lights facing essentially right at me. Check this out. This is the console that I'm working off of. This right here is if I have notes, some shows I have notes and some shows I don't. Like for example, today's show, I have written notes that are actually right here next to my microphone, but I'll put them right underneath the camera so that I can reference them. These are my cameras. They're Logitech Brio webcams. I've got 2 on a really good tripod. I found that tripod is really important. If you can just adjust it just like this, instead of having to move it up and down and crank it left and right, it makes the adjustments super, super easy. Then I have one, I sit right here and look at that one. And then when I stand up to do the whiteboard, I'm looking right at that one. Okay, so you can see the setup here. I got my water and my hydro shot that's actually out of the picture, my coffee that's usually in the picture. And the last thing I'll show you is the microphone setup. This is a Saramonic TX10. It's connected to a soundboard that is a Xenix 820 USB, and that goes directly through the receiver, right into the soundboard, right in through USB, okay? That's an advanced microphone setup. It's really, really good at noise canceling. This is another really great option, and this is a Yeti, blue Yeti microphone. This is about 129 bucks, and this will be more, but a little bit better sound fidelity. So those are some different choices when it comes to the audio. And we are back. Okay, so that's a little bit of a tour of the studio right there that you just see behind you. Of course, the view that you see right now is me just looking at you. Again, I think all in with the cameras and the microphone and this microphone, everything probably about 1,200 bucks. I could probably have done it for less if I hadn't missed and made some mistakes along the way. Okay, so that's number 1 on the studio. And I want to kind of go back to the idea that you can start with basically nothing. I mean, if I was just starting out, just brand new, and by the way, inside of chat right now, there is a link that says edrush.com/gearlist. When you go there, it's got my good, better, best recommendations. If I was just starting out, I would start out with a Logitech C920 webcam. It's an HD webcam, and this Yeti microphone, which is 120 bucks. You will do perfectly fine with this very simple setup, and all in right there, that's about $220, $230 worth of gear. Okay, so step number 1 is to make your studio look professional. And if you just joined us, by the way, my name is Ed Rush. Welcome to the Bunker Bash. We are in Experts Week. Today, I'm teaching the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. If you haven't done so already, jump into chat, say hello. I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback. By the way, there's somebody in chat right now that I do want to say a big thank you to. That's Andy Falco, who actually was giving me a little tip while I was trying to get that little video up. When I first started, with this system, which I'll show you this system in just a moment, this broadcasting system. It was Andy who was really helping me learn this and get started. So if you're looking to do this more in depth and you want someone to help you, in fact, if you're looking for a consultant or somebody to help, reach out to Andy because he's been extremely helpful to me in this entire process. And I just want to say thank you, my friend. You've been awesome with me. Even just this morning, I was asking him some questions about some live streaming stuff. All right, so the number two, today we're talking about top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. The number 2 tip for live streaming is to open with a bang. Now, I studied when I got started, especially with YouTube Live and Facebook Live. I started studying the people who were using live streaming and were doing it in front of large audiences. And I can tell you that without any exception, the people were all starting their live stream exactly like this. So just watch. This is how it would work. Ready? Just assume it's just starting. All right. Okay. Oh, hey. All right. Okay. We're live. Okay, good. All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, guys. Hey, guys. Welcome. Welcome, guys. Hey, everybody. Today is going to be great. I just want to, just a couple people in chat. I want to say that's how they all start. Okay. So even the best and the biggest all start with like they were surprised that the camera was actually on. Now, in a moment, I'm going to give you a tip shoot number 4, which I'll lead into just a little bit. Every time you do a live stream, it turns into its own video. So you would never take a camera and you would never do a video that you were going to load up to YouTube and you would never start it like this. Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Like you would never start a video like that. So don't start your live stream like that, okay? It turns into a video. So here's what I do. And again, I'm going to show you this system in just a second. But what I do, because it takes a few seconds for the system to start up, whether it's YouTube Live or anything. So what I do is I put an image up like this. And I wait until I see that it's live. Then I look at the camera with my finger on the image, and then I come back just like this. When I see under my peripheral vision that the image went away, I start with some sort of subject line, headline style grabber for the show. So today went like this. You have a message, a story, or an experience that's going to change the world. Okay, did you catch that? That's how I started it. And if you're ever looking for a great way to start your live stream, start with the word you. Speak directly to your audience. And so what happens is when this turns into a video on YouTube and Facebook and on Periscope, when people click it, the first thing they get is a message as to why they should be watching you right now, okay? The second thing, and again, thank you, Mike Koenigs, we worked on this together. The second thing is I don't call my audience guys. You will hear everyone do this. They say, hey guys, welcome. Well, guess what? Half of your audience are guys, okay? Maybe less than half of your audience are guys. So don't call them guys, all right? Now, truth is, never mind. So just don't call your audience guys, okay? So number 2 tip for opening up is to open up all of your live streams with a bang. Remember, it's like you're starting each show with a headline or with some sort of grabber that will get people's attention. Okay, so let's keep cranking. The number 3 live streaming tip is to smile and look up. In other words, avoid looking like Jabba the Hutt. Okay, so now I'm going to shift to another camera, and this is a camera that you've never seen before because this is the camera that's on my computer. All right, and I'm going to do this for a moment just to show you what most people do when they're on their live streams. Check it out. You see how the camera is pointing up at me? Welcome to the live stream. That's what you look like. Now, when most people look down, see how I'm looking at the camera? When most people look down, it jams all of your chin together so you look like Jabba. I can't even take it anymore. All right, so you see how much better that looks? Okay, so here's the thing. If you're going to use the camera on your computer, lift your camera up so that you are looking up at your camera instead of looking down at your camera. Because like I said, when you look down, it jams all this together. You look like Jabba the Hutt. And most people, naturally, I do too, have a resting face that doesn't look happy. All right, so little insider story. My wife and I met at church, and we had gone to the same church for like 3 years before we pretty much had ever talked to each other. Okay, and when I was at church, I was pretty serious. Let me just put it that way. And so most of the time, I had my normal face, which kind of looks like, And she told me when we met, she goes, "You're actually kind of an interesting guy. You're like a funny guy. Like I always thought you were angry all the time." That's because most people's faces, they have like that angry resting face. It's called something different, but the angry resting face. So with your camera, make your camera, this is my eye level right here. Make your camera above eye level, look into the camera, and when you're talking, end by smiling. And when you start by smiling. Okay, so I want to go back to the start again. I've got this slide up in the beginning when I start. Now look at the camera. You have did you catch that? Start by smiling. And I will tell you that when you do media training, which I've done some media training, they will tell you, especially when you're on TV, if you go look, I've got some clips of me on a recent show, ABC News, the local ABC News. The hosts are talking, and while they're talking, I'm going like this. That's not natural for me, by the way, to sit there and be like, and it feels really, really weird. But you'll notice when I'm doing interviews, a lot of times I'm looking at my guests and I'm going, because people want to be around people who smile. Okay, so number 3 tip, live streaming tip, is smile and look up to avoid looking like Jabba the Hutt. All right, I'm going to take a moment real quick and just jump into chat and to say hello. Hello, Michael Fortin. Good to see you, my man. One of the smartest people I know. Colin said, "Can we get Andy's contact info?" Yes, Andy, put your email or whatever contact you want people to contact, website or whatever. It's my way to say thanks. Gina, where do you make and get the image and how do you put up? Oh, okay. She's asking about this image right here. So I use, I'm going to talk about graphics, actually, Gina, now that I think about it. I'm going to talk about graphics in just a little bit. I'll tell you how I get all this stuff. Can you do the opening graphic on? Yes, you can do the opening graphic. Kim. Yes, yes, this is all really good. Barry, either one, your choice. I use both, but whichever PowerPoint or Keynote, whichever one you like the best. Gina says, "I recorded a bunch of travel tips and videos, and by the time I stopped, my face actually hurt." Yeah, this is really good. Hello, Judy. Good to see you, buddy. Good. I did that whole thing about not calling people guys, and there I called Judy buddy. Judy, it's good to see you, Judy. All right, tell Forrest I said hello. Okay, so back to the teaching. The number 4 live streaming tip is to remember it's live and it's also being recorded. Now, what I just did, and if you watch the live stream, if you're watching the live stream, you will have seen what I just did. And if you're watching the full show, you'll have seen what I just did. But if you're watching this as a single video clip, what I just did was I caught up with some of the live comments that are in chat. I'm not doing that during these segments because this entire show is being recorded. And in one of the future tips, I'm going to show you what to do with these smaller little chunks. But you have to remember that, excuse me, most of the people who are going to watch this content are actually going to watch it on a recording. Okay. So I have these small little sections where I'm interacting with chat, and then I'm back into the teaching modules so that if I use this later on as a piece of content, I can actually squeeze it all together. And instead of doing all of the chat, I can actually squeeze it together and just use it as itsy bits of content or larger pieces of content. Now, having said that, remember that someone will be watching through your recording at their own pace, and in certain cases, jumping through, okay, which is the reason why you heard me go, okay, the number 4, and I broke the content up into the piece that it is. But remember that you're going to be live, so yeah, interact with your folks that are with you live, but at the same time, this is going to be recorded. So build your content for both of those, okay? So number 4 tip is that remember your show will be live and it will also be record it. Okay. Now, the number 5 tip for live streaming is number 5 tip for how to live stream and grow your business is to use the system, which you can find at edrush.com/StreamYard or go direct. Now, here's what I mean about going direct. You can go and stream live with your camera and your microphones directly to YouTube. You can stream live directly to Facebook. You can stream live directly onto Periscope, no problem, okay? And a lot of people simply stream direct to those platforms. And at first, that might be the way that you want to stream. Now, if you want to stream to multiple platforms, or if you want to use, for example, like the kind of graphics that if I put, for example, like this right up here, if you want to use that kind of graphic, or if you want to use like scrolling banners, like the one that you see here at the bottom, or if you want to be able to put up these kind of graphics, right? Or if you want to be able to put up these kind of graphics, or if you want to be able to put up lower thirds, okay, this is, you're going to want to use a system like the one that I'm showing you, which is at edrush.com/ScreenYard. Okay, so let me just show you very quickly this system that I'm using. Now, this is going to create some kind of a parallax effect. I already know that, but I'm going to show you behind the scenes of this little system that I've got created. See that little mirror thing that just shot down in the middle? Okay, so this particular system you can see here on the right. Let me just go full screen on this so that you can see. This little system on the right gives me the ability, see these little things that pop up right there? It also gives me the ability to look at the comments. See the comments down there on the right? So for example, Delisa just put that. See how I can put the comment in there? This system, edrush.com/StreamYard, which by the way, yes, it is my affiliate link. I'll tell you why you should use it in just a second. This system gives you the ability to do all of this. Plus, it gives you the ability, not only with the graphics, but it also gives you the ability to seamlessly bring in a guest. Now, you can stream to Facebook, you can stream to YouTube, you can stream to Periscope, you can even stream to Twitch, which has served incredibly zero benefit for me so far, but you never know. Okay, so this is just a little show of what's inside here. You can see on the bottom here, I've got my screen sharing. You can see on the bottom over here, I've got my stream right there, so I can put myself back on the camera. Now, it's a pretty darn simple system to use. I haven't seen it not stream properly. I haven't seen it disconnect. I haven't seen it break. And I got to tell you, I've worked as a consultant for 7-8 years for different software companies, and having something this stable is particularly difficult. What I like about this system as well is that they've built it so that the features are robust, but not too robust. In other words, you don't have 1,000 options. That just gets confusing. You just have a handful of options, okay? And I won't go too deep into the graphics and building the graphics, but I will show you in just another point how you do that. All right, so the website, by the way, is sitting there in chat. It's edrush.com/StreamYard. When you go there, I'm going to share my screen one more time. When you go there, you'll see an introduction to the system. And then when you use that link, you get $10 off, okay? And it's not even that expensive. I think it's very reasonable. So use edrush.com. You can go directly to StreamYard if you want to. You're just going to pay $10 more. And like I said, that's my affiliate link. Now, full disclosure, the other service that is popular for doing this is called Ecamm Live. I have not fully tested out Ecamm Live. I do have people like Andy, who I trust, who have tried it, and the feedback is like, just okay. Okay, there's a lot more features inside of Ecamm. The streaming potentially could be higher bandwidth, but I've also heard that there's a lot of glitches. Okay, so I'm using this system right now because it's very simple, because I understand it, and because I can do all this graphic stuff, which I really like. Okay, so that is number 5. Use a system like this one, edrush.com/StreamYard, or go direct. All right, so number 6, we're talking about the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. Number 6 on the list of the live streaming tips is teach or manage comments, not both. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. Like I said, I've been live streaming for about 7 years. What ends up happening with people, especially, and having done it a lot, I still This is still a challenge and it's still a temptation. But if you're new to live streaming, the comments can be a gigantic distraction. And here's what you'll see people do who are unable to manage both things at once. And I'll tell you, don't feel bad, because even I get distracted, and I've done this a lot, okay? This is what happens when somebody's live and all of a sudden a comment comes in that grabs their attention, right? You'll see someone teaching, for example, like the importance of live streaming. The great thing about live streaming is you can go live on YouTube and Facebook and okay. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for that. That's, if you see somebody who gets sucked into the comments, that's what happens. And I'm telling you, if you won't go back in the last 10 shows that I've done, you'll see that happen every once in a while. And so the way that I avoid that is I break up my content so that I'm teaching, teach. I take a break and you'll hear me go, all right, let's go back into the comments and say hello. And then I'm back into the teaching, okay? And that gives you a pause for a moment to go into the comments, to respond to some of the comments in chat, and then to come back. Okay, now that I'm mentioning this, I will tell you that sometimes when you go live, the people that are with you, for the most part, are going to be really kind and they're there to learn and they're encouraging. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody in there who's just like a little bit negative, or who maybe, has something bad to say about you. There's two options that you have. Number one, you can totally ignore them. Number two, you can address their comment and just ask them to keep things positive. Or number three, you can really, really, really let it bother you. And I will tell you that about 10 shows ago, there was a comment that I was breezing through that I read wrong. And I thought the person was being negative, actually. And it turns out they were talking about the bad people that I was talking about. Like they were agreeing with me about all the bad people. And for a moment, I'm like, I can't believe that they just said, just let it go. Okay. So number 6 tip for live streaming is teach or manage your comments, but not both at the same time. All right. Having said that, let's catch up with the comments. So Andy, thank you very much. Andy threw his information in there. If anyone's interested in connecting with Andy, do that. Just so you know, he does this for a living. Okay, so if you're looking for help, it may turn into a consulting relationship, but it will help you. Okay, so Barry says, hello, Judy. Yes, that's exactly right. We watched my kids. You see in the movie Up, my kids and I were watching that some of the shorts on Disney Plus, and you're like, squirrel. And that's exactly what happens with chat when people, you'll actually see people's heads go down. And they'll start looking at chat. Okay. All right. So everybody's just saying hello to each other in chat, which I really like. Okay. So let's keep going. This will be quick. So we are teaching. If you just joined us, by the way, this is the Bunker Bash. My name's Ed Rush. Today, we are going through the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. Tomorrow, we're talking about social media. Wednesday, Paul Culligan's coming in to talk about podcasting. Thursday, my friend Yakov is bringing his LinkedIn expertise. And we're wrapping up the week on Friday with publishing with Jim House. And even if you've written a book, you're going to get some great tips. I'm going to show you how I'm getting free leads from Amazon's website. This is really cool. Okay, so the number 7 tip for live streaming is outline your content so it's easy to follow. You'll see in this training, I'm actually doing that with number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, teaching it in an outline. I've got my notes sitting in front of me. If you came into this video late, I had a video where I did a tour of inside of my studio. So I've got my notes right there. So if something falls apart inside of the system, but usually what I do is I outline my content into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullet chunks with a couple little notes underneath of it if I need it. Number 1, that's going to help you follow your training for that day. Number 2, it's going to help the people listening to you follow the training for that day. But there's a third secret to this, which I'm going to share in tip number 12, because the real power of live streaming isn't the stream itself. It's what you do with the live stream once it comes out. Okay, so number 7 is outline your content so it's easy to follow. All right, number 8 is schedule your shows in advance and notify your list. Okay, so schedule your shows in advance and notify your list. Now, inside the StreamYard system that I'm using, which you can get at edrush.com/StreamYard, You can just fill it in, and it schedules over at YouTube, over at Periscope, and over at Facebook. But what happens is, for example, on Facebook, when you schedule a live broadcast, it actually puts it up as a post. That's a post that you can share, you can comment, you can like, and your followers and fans can share and like and comment as well. So my rule is at least get it up 24 hours in advance or a day before the show. In certain cases, like for example, my shows this week, I scheduled almost every single show 6 to 7 days out so that they've been sitting there on YouTube. They've been sitting there on Facebook so that people can interact with that and set their own reminders for that. In addition to that, if you've got an email list or a following on some other social media platform, send out reminders to those folks ahead of time. I've tried sending them out the day before. I've tried sending them out 2 hours before. I tried sending them out 15 minutes before and an hour before. And my experience with my email list, this is just me, is that sending out a reminder about an hour before gives you the best chance for success. Now, the second thing is, if you're going to have a guest come in, make sure that you give them their own copy that they can put out on social and they can send out to their email list so that they can promote your show. I have had about half of my overall viewers, and definitely more than half of my replays, have come in because my guests have told people about the show. So Mark Pattison, former NFL football player, climbing the 7 peaks. Michael Haig sent a good solid number of folks to the show. I had who else was a guest? Oh, Mike Koenigs also sent people onto the show. Perry Marshall sent people. So when the show's done, you can also send that out to those folks and they can promote it once it's done. Okay, so it gives an opportunity for that. But again, do that by scheduling in advance and then notifying your list. All right, so let's get to number 9. So we are teaching right now the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. Should have time right at the end to answer questions, by the way. So if you're hanging out and you want to ask a few questions on the tech side, I'm moving pretty fast. Again, this is probably a week-long training that we can do that I'm trying to compress into about 45 minutes or so to give you time for questions. So we are teaching the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. And this is number 9, which is graphics matter. So some of you have been asking questions about the graphics. So for example, I've got these little lower thirds that pop up just below here. And you'll notice on the top right here, that says Bunker Bash. That's the branding for this show. That branding is the font and the colors that match my website over at edrush.com and any of my videos. This little thing right below you, that lower third, 5-time #1 best-selling author, or the website that says EdRush, that's in the blue, that's branded, same branded to my website. Now, the system that I use for all of this is called Canva, but I will just tell you, full disclosure, I have an amazing graphics team, okay? So if you're interested in that kind of help, it's Spark the Brand is the website, and it's Kristen Sabayan. Some of you know Kristen. The way that I typically do it is Kristen creates my overall branding and graphics, and then I kind of plug and play from there, okay? So like this kind of stuff, that image right there, that image for our show tomorrow, that image, believe it or not, I created all that stuff because I've got pictures that I can just drag in there. I'm the one typing the copywriting anyway. And so what Kristen did on a website called Canva, which is a very easy graphics website, Kristen created 2 or 3 of these little templates that I could use, and then I just sort of move people around, okay? And so if it looks like it's designed but not like blow you away designed, that's because I moved the pictures around, okay? So that was me doing that. But it gives me a lot of freedom to be able to add in, for example, little links at the bottom just like this, or to add in, little if I want to give myself some sort of funny title or something like that. Those things pop up there. But I'll tell you that the graphics add to the professional look of your show. And so for probably just a few $100s, you can get maybe a header prepared, something like this. And you can maybe get a couple little images like something like that prepared that you could simply use over and over and over again afterwards on a show like yours. And it just gives it a little bit more of a professional feel, and it gives it a little bit more of a professional look. You'll notice I don't have motion graphics flying through. I've got, for example, lower thirds that I do create for videos. I'll show you these in just a second for videos that I use later. But on this show, it's very basic. It's things that I've actually created using the graphics that my team created for me. Okay, so number 9 on the tips is graphics matter. All right, so we are covering the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. We've covered 9 so far. Here's number 10. In your shows, always, and I mean always, include a CTA. Now, I know y'all been making fun of me because I don't drink my coffee. So there, a CTA is a call to action. Let me give you an example of a call to action that we used earlier today in the show. I'm going to scroll down really quickly to pull up. Let me find the website. Hang on. Here we go. I gave a call to action to a website that was edrush.com/StreamYard. That's the website where you can go to try out the software that I'm using. Previous in the show, I've used the call to action to edrush.com. That's a place where you go and put your name and email, okay, so that you can get into the notification for the daily Bunker Bash trainings. And by the way, if you haven't done that, go and do that now. I also gave you a website, which was edrush.com/gear list. You remember probably seeing that if you've been watching the full show. That's where when you go and type in your name and email address, when you go there, it takes you to a page where you can download, or actually send you an email where you can download my gear list, the recommended gear that I gave you. Okay, so I'll show you that gear list really quickly so that you can get that, or you can see what you're going to get when you download. This is the gear list, by the way. So check it out. That's my live streaming gear list. So you'll see the cameras that I recommend, the microphones that I recommend with good option, better option, right? Studio lights and all that good stuff that's there. Okay, so that actually is 3 different call to actions that I've given in this show alone. But remember, you always want people who are watching you to take some kind of action. Those 3 that I just showed you are sending people off to a website. But here's another call to action. If you have enjoyed the content so far, click the like button below. Now, why would you ask your followers and fans to click the like button? Well, listen, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter all work off of a similar algorithm. That algorithm is the more interaction that people have with your content, the more they show it to other people. So for example, on Facebook, I've got like 180,000 fans as of the recording of this video. If I post something on Facebook, Facebook probably shows it to 100 people. I mean, I'm not even kidding you, out of the 180. So just because you have the fans doesn't mean they see your stuff. Now, if out of the 100, there's 4 or 5 people that are like, comment, share, Facebook goes, show it to 500. If the 500 like, comment, and share, show it to 5,000. And you actually get credited with more exposure when people engage with your content, okay? I don't know this for sure, but my sense is that a share is worth about 5 to 10 times a like. So if you get someone to share your content, I think that's the highest value you can get. Then it's commenting next, and then it's like. Okay, so I always ask people, comment, make a comment, say hello in chat, because I think comments are helping broadcast the message. I always ask people to like. By the way, if you haven't done it, click the like button down below. And then on YouTube, which is the platform that I'm primarily streaming on right now, there is a button right here on the corner where when you click that, you subscribe to my YouTube channel. The great news about subscribing is, for the most part, unless someone's got notifications turned off, when you go live, when you stream live next time, it gives someone an email notification that you're going live, okay? And some of you have gotten those notifications, all right? So number 10 on the tips is to include a call to action. That could be subscribing, liking, sharing, or going to a website. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3 more tips for you really quickly. I'm gonna come back to some of the, Iron Core, my man Oz says, do you use their subscription or the free version? I use the paid version of Canva, and I'm not sure exactly which one that is. Yes, Gina says, are those graphics uploaded into live stream and in your account so you can use them across multiple live streams? Let me do this again. I know this creates this weird parallax thing, but I'm gonna do it anyway, okay? So Gina, let me just share my screen one more time. You can see on the right-hand side, there's this button that says brand. All these little pictures are right here. If I wanted to upload something else, all I would have to do is pop this up, upload. You can see I'm just uploading this, and see how it's just uploading here on the right-hand side on the bottom. That just uploaded that another image, which is basically the last image on what I'm teaching. And then when I come into this studio the next time, all this stuff will still be here, okay? So it does create a little bit of a management task, because a lot of this stuff, I mean, all these I'm gonna delete after today's show, but it does give you an idea of how you can use some of those graphics, okay? So, thank you for the comments. And by the way, if you're looking for the gear, some of you are asking about that, it's edrush.com/gear list. All right, so we are rocking and rolling. I will not have time for a lot of questions, but if you want to ask a question, throw it in right now in the chat and put the word question into chat. All right, so we are going to, hang on. I got 3 more. 1, 2, no, yes, I have 3 more. So the number 11 live streaming tip is reintroduce your show every 15 to 20 minutes. Now, this one feels a little weird. And if you're watching, at first you're like, why does he keep saying that? I've been here the whole time. But what I can tell you, and I'm going to jump up on the board really quickly, and I'm going to show you this on the whiteboard. What I can tell you is that when you're streaming, it'll say this. Let's say you have 100 people that join your live stream in the beginning, and then there's 100 people at your live stream at the end. What it feels like is, it feels like 100 people joined and the 100 people are there at the end. Okay, so like right now, we're live, and there's, across all social media platforms, just under 100 people that are watching this show, okay? Right now in chat, by the way, there's about 20 of you who are interacting in chat, which means there's a whole bunch of you out there who haven't said hello. You're just kind of creeping around, all right? Now, here's what happens. In your mind, you think there's 100 people on my show, and then there are 100 people at the end of the show, okay? But here's what happens. About every 10 minutes, 20 people are dropping off, and about every 10 minutes, a new 20 people are coming on, and then 20 people drop off, and then a new 20 people, and sometimes there's people that were there in the beginning that are coming back, but for the most part, there's people coming on and coming off and coming on and coming off and coming on and coming off. So if you watch the actual statistics, what ends up happening is you have a lot more people that are watching that are there live the entire time. So you might have this show, 100 people in the beginning, 100 people at the end. You stop the show, you refresh on YouTube, and it says 176 people watch your show. You're like, where did the other 76 go? Well, that's because they were coming on and coming off, okay? So let's say somebody sees your live stream post on Facebook, and it's 30 minutes into the show, and they get on, and here's Ed talking onto his whiteboard, and they're like, I don't even know what Ed was talking about. Okay, so what I'll do is about every 15 or 20 minutes, you'll see me do this in the interviews quite a bit too, is I'll go, now, if you just joined us, this is the Bunker Bash. My name is Ed Rush, 5-time #1 best-selling author, former F-18 fighter pilot, and your host for the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. Today, I'm interviewing my guest, Mark Pattison. Mark is a former NFL player who's on a mission to climb the 7 highest summits in the world. He's climbed 6. Now, Mark, and I'll go back to the question. Did you catch that? So I'll just pause for a moment, and I'll say, now, if you just joined us. Now, for the folks watching live, it's not that big of a deal, because you're used to watching like radio shows or listening to radio shows where the radio host, literally every 10 minutes or so, will go, if you just joined us, you're listening to Mark in the Morning and whatever the show is, okay? So they're used to that. But as people are coming on and coming off, don't assume they were there the entire time. Pause for a moment, and the little script that I use is, now, if you just joined us, then introduce yourself, then introduce the show, then introduce your guest if it's there, right? So I'm Ed Rush, 5-time best-selling author. This is the Bunker Bash, and this is what this is all about, and this is my guest, okay? So that is number, which number is that? That is number 11, reintroduce your show every 15 to 20 minutes. Now, I know what you're thinking if you just joined us. Ed, you just said this is the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business, but you just taught number 11, what gives? Well, I will tell you, that I seek to under-promise and over-deliver, okay, with everything. And by the way, if you've ever come to one of my events, I guarantee you agree to that, all right? So I have 13 tips. I know I said 9, but I'm going to give you more because I wrote a whole bunch more this morning. All right, so the number 12 tip, and this one is a huge one. This one is huge. This might like my new favorite word. Chunk and chop your content, then blast it everywhere. So when I get done with today's show, what I will do is I will sit down and find 5 to 10 pieces of content that are 2 to 5 minutes long that I will write a headline for. My team will take that content down. They'll edit that 2 to 5 minute blurb. They'll format it as a single video, and they will format it as a video for Instagram. I'm going to show you both examples in just a second. And then those get uploaded on their own to social media with links back to this larger show. Let me give you an example of this in just a second. This is a very powerful, very powerful social media tip. Okay, so I'll take you over here to my Instagram page. So if you see my Instagram page right here, you'll see, for example, this is a little clip of an interview that I did last week with Perry Marshall. Yep, and what happened here is my team broke this piece of content down into a smaller, separate video that plays on IGTV. You can hear the stuff in the background. But as it's playing, you see this little headline that's up there at the top? This thing is playing, right? And people are watching this little bit right here on Instagram. And you can see just that little piece of content, which was only posted just a few days ago, has had over 500 views. It's actually had more views than the original piece of content sitting up on YouTube. And if you go over, for example, and by the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, it's just at EdRushPilot. You're going to want to go there and hit this follow button because you're going to see this stuff being posted all the time. All right, now, if you look at, for example, this is my post, but if you look over here at IGTV, you'll notice, man, there's one here with like 1,600 views, 400 views, 400 views, 630 views, 460, 340, 407, 515. Each of these is getting quite a few views. And part of the secret to it is the headline: The Cure for Coronavirus Chaos, How to Grow Your Business. Upcoming Debt Crisis. That one actually did pretty good. Ancient Evolutionary Secret to Massive Personal Growth. Nah, not so much. Lion plus Tiger equals Liger. Not so much. You can actually see the headline of this actually pulls quite a bit of the benefit in. All right. So take your content that's live. You can download it either from the website I recommended, edrush.com/StreamYard. You can download it from there, or you can download it from YouTube. Take the content, break it into smaller little chunks, and post it on social media everywhere, driving traffic back to your original content. Okay, that's a pretty big tip for you right there. All right, that was number 12. Chunk and chop, then blast everywhere. And in a moment, I'm going to wrap the show up and come back to chat and answer your questions. But this is the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. And number 13, hang on. Number 13, just go do it now. So the other day I was on Andy Falco's show, and someone had asked a question about live streaming. And I said, there's basically 2 ways to do this. If you procrastinate, because the person was asking about procrastination, I said, if you procrastinate, there's 2 ways to go about this. Number 1, you admit that you have a problem with procrastination. Number 2, you take this, or these are the steps, and this is the first way. Then you buy a whole bunch of books to overcome procrastination. And then you make a list of all the things that you're going to do to not procrastinate. And then you get some accountability, and you get somebody in your life who's going to really hold your feet to the fire, maybe a coach. And then you set all your deadlines and all your goals, and then you set down the road to action. That's the first way. And the second way is you sit in front of your camera and you click go live. I'm here to tell you, the first time I did this, I sat in front of the camera and I clicked. It's still back there someplace on YouTube and Facebook. I'm like, hey guys, I did all the things I said I wasn't supposed to do. Are we live? Okay, all that stuff. But I just clicked it and I just went. And here's the great thing. When you're done, first of all, the first time you go live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, they don't even know if you're for real or not. All right, so they're going to send you like 2 people. And the same thing happened for me. By the way, full disclosure, they're going to send you 2 people. And one of those people is going to be your mom, okay? It's like, or your sister or something. So it's okay. And it's going to be fine. So click live. Do it today. I'm not kidding you. Do it today. Start teaching. Share some of your stuff. And you know what? If at the end of your thing, you do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, I don't care, minute and a half. At the end of your thing, if you don't like it, you can delete it. Like when I'm done with the show, if I want to, I can just delete the show. I'm not going to do that. But you can if you want to at the end, which is why I'm here to tell you. You don't need a platform. You don't need a great camera. You don't need the lights. It's nice to have. I'm giving you best practices. You don't need any of that stuff. Get your computer. You look right into that camera in your computer. You click go live. And you say, welcome everyone. My name's Ed Rush and welcome to the Bunker Bash, the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. Today I'm going to be teaching the 9 best ways to use live streaming in your business. Just do it. I'm here to tell you that, look, even in today's show, I've made 100 mistakes. Most of them I won't even edit. In fact, 99 of them probably I won't. In fact, 100 of them I'll probably just won't edit. I'm just going to leave it out there because in today's world, people don't need perfection. You don't need some fake Kardashian stuff. People want to see what you have to say about stuff. Real stuff. Grammar mistakes and all, okay? Spelling mistakes and all. I've just posted on LinkedIn 2 days ago and I said I'm steaming live every day at 10 a.m. Pacific. And I thought that was hysterical. When somebody told me you forgot the R, like I forgot to put streaming in, so I just said steaming, I thought, I'm just gonna leave it. I'll just leave it because I thought that was pretty funny. So you know what? You can probably go find that LinkedIn post where I said I'm steaming live today. All right, just because I thought it was hysterical. So here's the thing: push the button, go live. There's going to be 2 people there at first, but you know what? 2 is going to turn into 20. 20 is going to turn into 200. 200 is going to turn into 2,000, and all of a sudden, you're going to be influencing and communicating to the world. So when would now be a really great time to just go do it now? How about now? All right, so this has been the top 9. Actually, it was more like the top 13 live streaming tips to grow your business. My name is Ed Rush. But if you haven't done this, you need to go now. Go to edrush.com, fill in the form, put your name and your email. Look, I'm only going to email you when something's great, okay? And this is great, so you need to be here for this. Okay, so really quickly, recap of all the things that I taught today, and then I'm going to answer your questions if you have any, and then we're going to wrap it up. So this was the top 9 live streaming tips to grow your business. Number 1 was make your studio look professional. Number 2, open with a bang. Number 3, smile and look up to avoid looking like Jabba the Hutt. Number 4, remember it's live and it's recorded. Number 5, use edrush.com/StreamYard or go direct. Number 6, teach or manage comments, not both. Number 7, outline your content so it's easy to follow. Number 8, schedule your in advance and notify your list. I just did that one. Number 9, graphics matter. Number 10, include a CTA, which stands for call to action. Number 11, reintroduce your show every 15 to 20 minutes. Number 12, chunk and chop, then blast everywhere. Number 13, should have just been number 1, frankly. Just go do it now because you can. All right, so let's do some comments real quick. Bam. There's a lot of comments. Let me scroll back. Nabi, my man, thanks for the heads up, by the way, about the book. I'm working with Amazon to try to figure that stuff out, Nabi. You are the best. Let's see if I missed any questions. Yeah, the graphics question I got. Okay, John said, what happens to the chat script once the live stream is over? There are links in chat we need to access later. So on YouTube processes this entire video and the chat just disappears for a few hours, John. And then what you'll see is when you go to watch the replay on YouTube, the chat will actually roll with the video on the timing of the video. So if you jump forward 20 seconds, the chat will jump forward 20 seconds as well. Now, a viewer on YouTube can turn off the viewing of live chat, but you'll be able to see that. And then, John, the links after the show are all getting put down in the description of the video as well. So the link to the gear, the link to, I had a couple other links. My website, all those links are being put below. All right, so thank you for that question. Very good. Let's see. I'm not creeping, just taking notes of that. That's because I said, if you haven't, thank you, Greg. You're awesome, dude. So I said, if you haven't made a comment in chat, it's because you're creeping. He's like, I'm not creeping. I'm just taking notes. That's hysterical. All right. So no, Don says, are both mics in use at the same time? This, Don, is, so if you are, for those, for you pilots out there, you'll know that you don't go flying without a backup system. That right there is the backup system. And I have had this microphone, this Ceramonic mic eats batteries, like eats fast. So I've had the microphone bail on me, and all you got to do, whoosh, switch this guy out, and whoosh, that's my favorite noise right now. And this thing will kick into gear and start working. Okay. Let's see. Yes, interesting. Thank you, Barry. Radios are mandated by the FCC to identify their station ID call letters every 30 minutes. I love it. Let's see other questions here really quickly. Thank you, John. What software are you using for Chunk and Chop? Dennis, I'm not doing that. My team, I think, is using Final Cut. I have an idiot when it comes to Final Cut. So I have a program called ScreenFlow that I know how to use. And so so what I do after the show's over, I'll, as soon as I'm done, which is just a couple minutes from now, I will pull up ScreenFlow and I'll do 2 quick ads for this show. Hey, if you wanted to learn the top 9 ways, and I create that. So I use ScreenFlow because I'm familiar with ScreenFlow. It's actually a screen recording device, but you can use it for the cameras. My team is using Final Cut, which is very, it's confusing, and I don't personally use it. Okay. Yes, Judy Carrico says, bam, implement. Yeah. Ed Barry, you got that right. So streaming is like your first solo flight. Just do it. Just do it. My landing may be bumpy, but you'll be fine. Okay. John, thank you for this comment. This is great stuff. I'll be coming back to this video in the future. Robin, thank you very much for that really nice comment. You guys are the best. Robert, my man. Love you, pal. Thank you for that awesome comment. When would now be a good time? I started using that like 3 years ago. When would now be a great time too? And then you fill in the blank. How about now? Sometimes you say it, people don't even catch you said it. Yes, you need backups. We just did a live workshop. My wireless mic died. Switched to backup, and the back was rolling. Always have backups. Robin says she uses iMovie. Use a system that you like. Thank you, Catherine. Liked, shared, and private message. So if you haven't already done this, click like. If you haven't already done it, click share. It's just awesome. And by the way, I see it most of the time when you share on Facebook or everywhere else, and I appreciate that as well. Preston, my man, share this with my daughter who's starting to podcast and stream. Thank you for that. It's very, very cool. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Usually what I do, just so you know, since I'm teaching this, is I click at the end of the show, I click this button right there, and I put that up, and then I stick around for about the next minute or two in chat, and just make sure I haven't missed anybody on Facebook or over on YouTube, because the chat, like I said, remember, John, the chat on YouTube disappears. So usually I do that for about 2 minutes while people are just still saying hello and goodbye, because I don't want to turn off chat and now people are right in the middle of saying hello to each other. So usually I leave it up for about 2 minutes and then I turn everything off, and then YouTube and Facebook does its thing. They do their own processing and then they are out. Okay. So really quick for tomorrow, and I'm not sending out any more emails this week. So if you're on my email list and you're relying on email to get you to the right place, it's not coming for the next few days for this Bunker Bash. So tomorrow, and so the way to get here, by the way, is edrush.com/bunkerbash. That takes you directly to my YouTube page. That'll get you to all the live shows, right? So tomorrow is social media tips to explode your brand. This is Marquetta Breslin and I. Wednesday, Paul Culligan and I are going to talk about podcasting, and I'm learning this day. I need some help on podcasting, and he's going to help me with that. On Thursday, top 9 LinkedIn tips, and on Friday, your top 9 book publishing tips. My name is Ed Rush. Thank you for your attention. You are amazing. I like you and I love you. And I just want to tell you, in this age of disinformation, now is the time to get your truth out into the world. Look, I mean, we've been a community here for a little while, and I know what you've got to offer, and it's good. It's good. And I know what the world's offering right now, and it stinks, okay? What the world is offering right now stinks. And it's time for you to get your voice out into the world, and it's time for this whole movement of entrepreneurs taking over. And I'll just tell you this. I'll wrap up with this. The world is messed up right now. It's really messed up. And here's the good news. It's either going to get better and then we're going to take over, or it's going to get worse and then we're going to take over. Okay. One way or another, I'm telling you, entrepreneurs, we're taking over. We are going to take over. And so it's either going to get better and we're going to take over, or it's going to get worse. We're going to take over. But either way, we are going to take over. So smile, because either way, it's going to be awesome. All right. So thank you for your time and attention today. I'll see you tomorrow when we talk about social media. Hopefully this was helpful for you. You'll be able to go back and watch through and look through some of the notes as well. But thank you for your time. I will talk to you soon. I'll talk to you tomorrow when I interview my friend Marquetta Breslin. All right. See you guys. Wait a second. I can't end the show by saying see you guys. I said don't say guys. And the last thing I was going to say was the word guys. Remember the part where I said, remember the part where I said I made 100 mistakes? Well, there's 101. Okay. When you talk to your audience, speak in second person singular. You. All right. I'm going to go back and do this again. You are amazing. I like you and I love you, and I will see you tomorrow.